Get that tilt out. So this is my new LARP sword. Now I'm sure you can already see what makes this sword different from all the other LARP swords and most of the LARP swords you've probably seen. And that is, it has a curved blade. Now why this is unusual is how LARP swords are made. If you've seen my video brief overview of LARP swords, which is in the center of the sword, there's a fiberglass rod that works as the backbone to the whole sword, and to get that curved is quite difficult. Now I'm pretty impressed by this. It's a great looking sword. I haven't used it too much, but I'm very excited to get it out in the field. Now, why did I get this LARP sword? Number one, I really wanted a curved sword just because I adore them. I think they are gorgeous. The fighting style that comes with them is unique and something new, so something I'd like to learn in LARP. And also, I think it will go with my kit quite well. Why I say that is my LARP equipment is a lot of it's based off steppe cultures, horse combat cultures, so cavalry cultures such as Khazars, Cumans, Kipchaks, Magyars. So they wouldn't have had swords like this because this is a Kilij, which is a Turkish word for sword, but they would have had the predecessor to this, which is a Turco-Mongolic sword. So where did this curved blade start? Well, it's widely accepted that the curved blade originated in Central Asian tribes. And as they moved and migrated and conquered, that sword then was picked up by other cultures and developed. The predecessor to this sword, as already mentioned, is the Turco-Mongolic saber. And that's also why you see such a widespread in different curved swords as we have now. For example, the saber development in Europe was influenced by the Magyars going into the lands of Hungary. And then we have the Turco-Mongolic saber ending up in the Middle East and Persia, and that's where we get the scimitar families, and that's where we get the Kilij, the Shamshir, and the Indian Talwar coming out of. I'm not too versed in the differences of it, but there's a fantastic video by scholagladiatoria that I'll link below that goes through some of the differences there. He's far more qualified than I am to talk in regards to it. So why did I pick the Kilij over the other curved swords in the family? Well, the reason I picked the Kilij is of its influence throughout Eastern Europe, the Middle East and Africa, and the reason for that, of course, is Ottoman influence. The Kilij really came into its own with the Ottoman Empire. This sword would have been used by Vlad the Impaler. This would have been his close combat weapon. And it's widespread throughout Eastern Europe, as well as with the saber, of course. Now, the other reason I picked the Kilij over, say, a scimitar or a Shamshir, what we have here is called a Yelman, which on a LARP sword is kind of hard to see, but I'll put a picture here. And that's where this bit of the blade actually is a false blade. So on a normal other curved swords like a saber or a scimitar, this is only a one-bladed sword. It's not double-bladed. So I thought that was quite unique that it had a Yelman and a false edge here. The other thing I really like about these swords, which you do have with others, is known as a Mameluke handle. I just really like this handle. Now, the reason this is called a Mameluke handle is after the Egypt campaign by Napoleon, these swords became quite popular as they were brought back by officers and so forth off the Mamelukes. It gained quite popularity, and in the West it ended up being known as a Mameluke handle. We even now have modern Western European swords that are used for parades and so forth, still have this Mameluke handle and really are inspired by the Kilij, because this is most likely a very common sword they would have come up against fighting the Mamelukes. I hope you enjoyed this short video on my new LARP sword and a bit of history in regards to it. If you'd like to see a full review of the sword after I've used it in to more extent, because I've actually only used it once on the field, and I was marshalling for most of it, so I didn't really get to try it out. But if you'd like to see a review, or maybe a more detailed review over the sword, after I've got some use at it, please let me know in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video. Thank you for watching.